For hundreds of years, money has been seen as a worthy means of exchange by countries around the world. But today, the story is gradually changing. With how much the financial economy is diving to the ground, money has started becoming less valuable. And now, there is the important question of saving your money or putting it into something else. Today's video will reveal why money is not as valuable as it once was. Free money in circulation. Do you know what happens when any product is available everywhere for free? Well, naturally, it would become so much that some people will start to hide more in their houses, and there will just be so much in circulation. That's exactly what's about to happen with money. Most developed nations, including the United States, are starting to give out a lot of free money to people. And that's just to buy a few months before the major crisis hits. By the time there is so much money in circulation, that leads to hyperinflation, where we are mirroring situations like countries like Romania, Venezuela, and Zimbabwe. In these countries, they decided to print a lot of money to make the world richer. And this didn't go too well. Money loses its value when it becomes excessive in the hands of people. There's a ridiculous amount of debt. When you hear that the world is in debt of about $277 trillion, do you wonder who exactly does the world owe? Well, this ridiculous amount of debt is for the population and several businesses. They are the trillions of dollars that governments are meant to pay to both individuals and businesses, but they never did. And this has a huge effect on the future of capital revenues. Thanks to the current health crisis in various parts of the world, several countries are going into more debt. It also doesn't look like there's any strategy to help pull out of this. With the United States owing China more than $1 trillion, there's speculation a major global event may have the world so shook that every debt will be forgiven. Time will tell. Money is not backed by anything. Before 1971, no country was allowed to print more money than it had in gold reserves. Thanks to this rule, countries were able to keep money at a stable level, and everyone was honest about their finances. But in 1971, this changed when Nixon was able to successfully get the US dollar off the gold standard. The result of this was that the dollar would become the international reserve currency, and now most countries even have this currency in their treasury, like they used to with gold. However, this is more in favor of the United States because the country can easily print as much money as they want without any regulation. But this is where it gets bad. Do you know that more than 20% of the US dollars in circulation right now was printed in 2020? What's worse is that it's possible that another 1.9 trillion will be printed and pumped into the economy in 2021. That would mean up to a 40% increase in the supply of US dollars within the last 12 months, and this is a huge cause for concern. Financial institutions are abusing the system. Do you remember the GameStop and Reddit saga that happened a few months ago? That's only a little idea of how far financial institutions have gone in abusing the system. The craziest thing about this is how much hedge funds and traders have had a hand in this damage. Most of them are extremely rich, but they use the financial rules of the game to move invisible money and keep some for themselves. Sadly, we'll be seeing a lot of this, especially with how people are allowed to sell what they don't own and get some profit from it. People are turning to cryptocurrency. There is a huge chance that you have some cryptocurrency in your possession, and you're one of the billions of people weighing heavily into this financial market. Many people would rather convert their money from US dollars into Bitcoin. Even companies are weighing heavily into this, especially MicroStrategy, that has more than $1 billion in Bitcoin, and Tesla, with about $1.5 billion worth of its cryptocurrency as well. During its incredible run, Tesla made more profit on Bitcoin in 1 month than the company had made since it started selling cars. Now, just take a minute to imagine the volume of this profit. Every single day, the dollar is losing more and more of its purchasing power. In fact, many companies are forced to buy more cryptocurrency to protect their earnings from rising inflation as a result of government policies and lots of other factors. As the government is printing more money, you're getting robbed in broad daylight. And both individuals and companies have realized that Bitcoin is pretty much the superior option since it works outside the Federal Reserve. With cryptocurrency, the value remains the same, whereas the US dollar keeps dropping in value pretty fast. There's every chance that we're on the verge of a new financial system as payment companies like MasterCard are including cryptocurrency in their services. The stock market is not a true reflection of the economy. Once upon a time, the stock market was a true reflection of the economy, but that's not true anymore. Today, our stocks are more like memes. While the entire economy was getting into shutdown mode due to the pandemic, we were experiencing stocks having all-time highs. Globally, the world experienced a loss of about $20 trillion in revenue, and surprisingly, the stock market kept booming. This reminds us of several events in previous years that would have such a massive effect on stocks, but that's not the case anymore. Now the power to take care of yourself and have enough to retire like a boss is only in your hands. With the current economic performance, you're pretty much the only one that will take care of you. The rich are in charge of pricing. As a common man, you're just a pawn in the larger market where the people with deep pockets are the ones running the show in their favor. For the rich, who are at the top of the market, they have the power to set price trends while everyone accommodates these changes. Whether you can afford it or not, it doesn't matter. There will always be someone else who can, and you'll just have to watch the show until you have the power to compete with other consumers. Most of the properties and products up for sale right now are owned by the rich. It's a seller's market, and that's why the cost of automobiles and real estate is shooting through the roof. Even basic amenities like gas, electricity, and water are increasingly becoming uncomfortable for the common man. Banks are lending money that doesn't exist. First, you're thinking about how this is possible, but it's really happening. Yeah, it's shocking. But do you know that banks can lend up to 10 times the amount of money in their possession? What this means is that you could be getting a loan for the amount that the bank actually doesn't have because they are that confident they will be getting it back. So you get to bend to a system that is rigid in their favor and still pay interest rates on money that doesn't exist. Guess what? There's even a name for it, and it's called fractional reserve banking. For those that have been aware of this for a while, they know how much this is contributing to the worthlessness of money as we know it. The sham that is universal basic income. The universal basic income is so complex that we can't go into details in this video, but here's a summary that will give you a good idea of what you're up against. Certain people believe that the universal basic income is a worthy solution to the problems of humanity. Despite how brilliant this concept may sound, it's actually really flawed at its core. It is a system that is not sustainable and eventually collapses, much to the shock of everyone. What happens with this is that the majority will vote for higher pay for themselves, as they will only pick an entity that will guarantee them a higher universal basic income. But what happens when money no longer has any value? This will only lead them to a financial loophole that will cause the entire system to crumble. Now you know why money is becoming worthless with each passing day, and that's a wrap. Do you save in your country's currency? Or what are you doing to protect your money from inflation? Let us know in the comments. Did you like this video? Well, we're always posting amazing content like this, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel so you don't miss out. Thanks for watching.